So I started this video with the tank and the plastics already off. I will include a link to another video I have that shows you exactly all the procedures needed to remove the tank and the plastics to get you to this point. Well, hey guys, we're back on the Tenere 700. I do need to install some heated grips. And one thing that's nice about the Tenere 700 is that Yamaha did us a favor, and on each side of where the fairing would be, they gave us an accessory plug. And I am currently installing a Cerebus tank, but while I have the tank off, I want to run my wires up into the triple tree. That way when my plug comes in, I'll have access to it without taking the tank back off. But I did go with the Oxford heated grips. I got the older style, which I actually prefer. The newer one has the buttons right on the grip, and I'm concerned that I'll hit them while I'm riding and not realize it. So all we need to do now is just run the power cable from the accessory plug around the brake lines and follow the rest of the harness. And then I'll have to figure out a place to mount the controls for the heated grips. So just find a spot underneath the main part of the frame here with the other cables from the harness. This is where, if you have small fingers, it comes in handy. All right, I think that's good for now. That's about all I'm going to leave up towards the top here. The switch itself has quite a long lead. I actually might even shorten it, to be honest with you. But yeah, so this should be plenty. And now would be a good time just to zip tie it up. If you don't see this plug on your bike, it's because I have cruise control mounted to mine, an aftermarket cruise. Okay, as you can see, I have quite a bit extra on this end as well, so I'll probably shorten that up or find a way to hide it. But yeah, I'll go ahead and put my tank on, and then we'll worry about swapping the grips out. So if you don't want to go the factory plug way, what you do is just run the wire underneath this frame tube, underneath this one here, and just follow the harness and lead your way right to the battery here, and you'll go underneath this as well at the end. I'm going to go this route for now because I'm waiting on that plug, and I got a trip that I'm heading out in a couple days, so I just need to get this wired in for now. And then what we'll do is once that plug comes in, I'll show you how to do that as well, which would be just part of this video. You won't see the difference. So the controller they give you is something like this with a lead on it. And what I want to do is actually find a spot where we could install this towards the cluster here. And what I think I'm going to do is they give you this bracket here where the control fits right on it. There's a couple holes here that typically go on the handlebars. It doesn't really work well with the Tenere. But what I think I want to try, if you look towards your display here, you got a bolt that holds the plastic together. Right now this bracket's bent. I want to see if I can straighten it out and utilize this bolt here to support it in a way that it'll hold itself in this orientation. So what I want to try is just to bend this this piece here, so the bolt will go through this hole here. Yeah, so we'll give that a shot. So I'm just going to use a vise myself. I don't think it's going to take much to bend this. Okay, so we have it bent in this orientation here,
and that should give us a spot to bolt it up and let the controls face us. So let's see how that works out for us. So I'm gonna loosen up this bolt here and give that a shot, but if that works out, then that's kind of a nice spot for it. Okay, this here is a 5mm Allen, and I already have it loosened up. And we'll just slide that bolt right through. It's actually a pretty nice fit. And then we could tighten it up and see how it plays out for us. Okay, this is just a test fit, but yeah, I definitely like that. I'm going to take it back off so we can mount our controls right to it, which is 4 little screws that go in the back. So in the kit, they give you these little screws here. It's hard to see on the camera, but obviously you have 4 of them. And they're just little Phillips heads on the back. So we'll take the controls in this orientation and place it with the bracket on this side. And we'll just get them started by hand here. So it looks like we're only going to be able to do 2 because we have it oriented opposite of what they're expecting us to do. And I don't really see that being a problem, to be honest with you. And what I mean by that, Oxford expects this to be oriented 90 degrees, which these holes aren't symmetrical. So when you rotate it, you'll lose 2 of them. But this isn't going to go anywhere. I'm not worried about that. So we'll go ahead and mount this on the bike. Okay, that'll be the finished product there. It's pretty sturdy. So yeah, that should work. So now we just got to find a means of wiring the rest of it. It is quite long, so I probably will shorten this myself. But otherwise, you just find a spot to coil it up and zip tie it away. All right, we're at the point now where we got to take off the grips. There's a small 5mm Allen at the end of the handlebar here to remove the guard. Okay. When you take this off, there's some spacers and whatnot. Make sure you don't lose any of that. All right, our next move is to get the bar end off. You'll need a 12mm. Okay, there's that. And now we got to get the grips off. All right, it's not really worth my time to save these, so I'm going to cut them out. And that's what it is. They're glued actually really well. Okay, there's the left-hand one. We'll get the throttle out. When you're cutting the throttle one, try not to cut too deep right away. It's most likely that the throttle tube is plastic. So we have the clutch grip. It actually says L for left hand. And what we want to do is test fit it. So this section here doesn't interfere with the clutch lever. And what we want to do, if you can see here, if I were to position it like this, that clutch lever would not be able to be pulled in. So that's not good. Anything in this direction will be good. I'm going to want this cable to go along the bottom, so something like that will probably be what I'm looking for. So when doing this, go ahead and place like a rag or something over the bike, because the super glue is pretty runny and you do want to put a decent amount on. So now that we know where we want the grip, we'll take the glue that they give us and we'll put a decent amount on top here. And we will slide that grip back on. It's okay if you rotate it a little bit, spread the glue out. You don't have too much time here, but let's just get it where we want it. Okay. All right, so that should be good there. And I didn't have to trim this model, and I'll put the exact model in the description for you guys. So we'll get this back on. Tighten it up. Then we have the hardware. This spacer goes first. Then we have the other washer in the bolt. Now we have the clutch, or excuse me, now we have the throttle side. Slide that on. And the important part about this one, since it, the throttle's going to move, is that we got to make sure it doesn't interfere. Let's see if we get you a better angle here. So it doesn't matter what position I were to put this in, it's not going to hit. So the reality is I just probably have to find a spot that's comfortable and that the wiring will work well. I'll probably do something like this where it's facing up a little bit. That way I could zip tie it here. And that'll work pretty well. And I'm not going to have to trim this one as well. So, all right, I'll get my glue ready and then we'll put some glue and be good to go. All right, that should be good. Now I could put my bar end back on. Okay. And our hardware for our handguard. Okay, so now we're just going to zip tie this and follow the existing harness to get back to our computer module. Okay, so what I did, I zip tied it to the harness here. Then if we come to this side, I use the factory straps that they have from Yamaha to get my plug down here. And for the throttle side, I am zip tied to the harness here, and then I use the straps as well to get me to in front of the triple tree. And now I have all my plugs. Let's see if I get a better view here. This is from the battery. This is from the left switch and the right switch. And this harness here, I'm going to have go down, and this is a servo for my cruise control. I think I'm just going to strap it in this area to get rid of the extra so you don't see it, then come back up with the plugs and make my plug connections here. So we'll go ahead and give that a shot and see what it looks like. Alright, so it took me a minute to kind of see what the cleanest route would be. So we'll start with the controller. I ran it down to the inside of the fairing here, and then came across and zip tied it to the existing harness that's there. And then we came above the ABS pump. This is the plug for the power, and then I have the two plugs for the remote, or the grips. And then I come in front of the frame, and then the two grips follow their harnesses as needed. So the big thing here is when you're turning your steering, you don't want those wires to get bound up or hitting anything, and following the stock harness to the frame and taking this one here and going around, I think probably is not only the best route but the cleanest route. And then we have our controls set up, and then the other harness runs underneath the frame tube and follows the existing harness to the battery. And now it's just a matter of hooking up positive to positive and negative to negative and testing it out. Okay, so we have the positive and the negative hooked up. And if we come to the front of our controller here, if you've never used one of these before, the top button initiates the heated grips to come on, and then it's just a matter of the level you want. The higher the LED, the more heat you're going to get. So there's, heat level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this thing is smart enough to turn off when it sees the battery levels not high enough to run them. So let's say you turn your bike off and you forget to turn them off. In whatever heat mode it is, it's going to turn off by itself. But we'll let these run for a second to confirm that we're good. So they've ran for, I don't know, maybe a minute or two. They're clearly hot. It's indicating that the voltage for the battery isn't what they want to see, so it's probably going to turn off soon. But we're happy with it, and we'll go ahead and turn it off ourselves. So that's it. I'll put my tank back on and the seat, and the next cold day we'll give it a shot. All right, if you have any questions, let me know, and in the descriptions I'll include the part number for the heated grips. All right, thank you.